Today I'm visiting Motor World here in Munich, Germany. Don't have a lot of time, but from what I can see for now, it's really pretty stunning, the stuff they've got here. You got plenty of brands here as well, like Brabus is here, and we have Bugatti here. You can see a few Chirons, Super Sports. They even have an EB110 in some kind of racing form here. I have no idea what it's called, but it looks very cool. I saw another EB110 in the workshop earlier, which I can't show, unfortunately. But the main reason we're here is because we're visiting McLaren. I have a bit of a strange relationship with McLaren, in the sense that I never was able to drive one. That's right, I've never driven an actual McLaren. I've been in them, I've seen them a lot, photographed them in dealerships and stuff like that, but every time I was supposed to get one, things sort of fell through and it didn't really happen. That is until today, where I finally get to drive one. This is a McLaren 750S Spider in the gorgeous Belize blue, and I have it for a couple of days here in Germany. The sun is shining, as you can see, so I'm definitely going to take the top off. It's the right weather for it. Bit of a rough cut to a couple of hours later. You're joining me here in the foothills of the Alps. They're not quite the Alps yet, in a little town that I've sadly forgot the name of. It's really complicated in my defense, even despite me being Dutch. So I'll put it in the caption below. After I've asked the locals what the name is again. Arrived here this afternoon, dropped off the 750, my luggage here in a lovely little guest house. It's beautiful here. As you can see, the weather is not quite as nice as it was earlier. The sun has gone away for a bit, but that's fine. It's still it's 9 degrees, and at least it's not raining or freezing, so that's good. Apologies for the dogs that are here somewhere. In case you're wondering why we're just looking at me in front of the car, I figured this might be a good subtle sort of introduction to myself and the channel if you're new here. I am Rudolf, I'm a car photographer, and I try to specialize in light painting. I specialize in light painting is what my girlfriend would force me to say. It's been my tagline for the last couple of years, so I often shoot in the dark. I like colorful cars. Doesn't matter if they're expensive or fast or whatever, as long as they're special. Now this one is both special and very expensive and very fast, so obviously I'm going to be shooting it later tonight or tomorrow night. I haven't made up my mind yet. Depends a bit on the weather as well. So that's what I do. I shoot for manufacturers, for dealerships, for collectors, private individuals, everyone, I suppose. And ever since I started doing this as a main job, I had a bit of an itch for YouTube, because I wanted to do long form content, but I was always stopped by the fact that I did not want to be recording separate audio and video and then having to merge it and then editing it and messing around with SD cards and stuff. Like, doing that for pictures alone is more than complicated enough for me personally, so that's something that always stopped me. Until recently I started realizing that I'm carrying an iPhone that's perfectly fit for that type of job. I don't even need external audio like a clip-on mic or whatever most of the time, because the built-in microphone of the iPhone is just that good. So it's very easy to start a YouTube channel that way, and it would be a bit of a waste not to do it, because obviously I encounter plenty of interesting cars from time to time. It's not going to be a weekly concept, a weekly video episode. I already can tell you that. I don't have the discipline for that, I don't have the time for that. But whenever I have something interesting, I will be reporting on it, as I will with this 750S. I have another car coming up this week here in Munich, which is going to be very different, but very interesting nonetheless. A lot bigger, which will be interesting too here with these small mountain roads. But now we're going back to the 750. Yeah, Rudolf out. here she is, the McLaren 750S Spider. It is a bit windy out here in the Alps, so I'm just going to take the camera and take us on a tour this way. Show you around the vehicle a little bit. As I mentioned, it's a Spider, which is easy to recognize by the fact that it has no roof. The color is Belize blue, which I think is a truly stunning color, but what makes this car infinitely better even is the use of these silver wheels rather than black ones, which we've seen a lot over the last couple of years, but I'm so happy that at least McLaren seems to have gone back to silver wheels. In Harry Metcalf's video about the 750S, his press car has silver wheels as well. Very enjoyable. I'm just gonna take a moment to get a bit of a sense of what this thing looks like. I still can't believe how beautiful it is. It's got UK plates, but it's a left-hand drive press car, obviously for Central Europe. These nice little aero bits here. There's quite a bit of mud here. I did some driving around today and yesterday in this beautiful setting. It's a bit cloudy now and a bit chilly as well. But we are essentially in the foothills of the Alps, very close to Austria. I think somewhere across those mountains is Innsbruck in Austria. So yeah, it's the Spider, the roof mechanism here, obviously. The engine hides somewhere down here. Very cool detail. At night there is a red light inside that little vent behind those grate, I guess, which you can see through there and a bit through here. It's really remarkable looking through these grates here, like all this heat dissipating stuff and some electronics, and of course the exhaust, which sounds phenomenal. It's only a 2-pipe exhaust, but man, does it sound good. It's a twin turbo V8. I've talked about this before in this video, but it doesn't sound like a naturally aspirated engine, but it's close. It gives me goosebumps. Look at all this aero here on the side going through the wing. Love that. The door opener is in here. You just squeeze it and then it opens up with proper butterfly doors. Are they butterfly doors? I never know. Scissor doors is Lamborghini, I guess. Yeah, I suppose this is butterfly doors. Looks stellar. Oh man, these wheels. I'm not sure about the gold calipers. I don't dislike them, just, I don't know, something about gold and silver wheels. I don't know, it's probably just me. This wing, huge wing, acts as an air brake as well when you really hit the brakes. Looks mighty impressive. Very cool. I was wondering if I can open the engine compartment, because there's no opening button in the usual place. You just got your lift here, your lock, and your frunk. And you've got the oddly positioned handbrake here, as well as lights. But I did notice that there's buttons here. So that's all for towing, I suppose. Tonneau, up and down. Should I try it? Nothing happens. It does beep a little. I don't know. It doesn't say anything. The gauge cluster is pretty cool. I don't know if you can see it. It's fairly minimal. I should probably turn the wheel a little bit. Fairly minimal. It doesn't do that nice flip thing that I think the Senna does, and the Artura as well. Not sure. But it's still nice. So you've got these switches here to switch modes, and they work really well, very convenient. And here is that ultra minimalistic steering wheel with lots of nice sort of matte carbon on it and no buttons whatsoever. You've got your shifting levers and that's it. Well, you've got a horn as well, and I'm guessing there's an airbag in there as well, and then you just got your standard stalks there and there. But the steering wheel itself doesn't have any buttons, which is probably the only brand left that has no buttons on it, and I guess we're all for it. To be honest, I have gotten a bit used to having buttons on the steering wheel, and I've tried to up the volume. Oops, there's some bird poop there. Up the volume a few times to the steering wheel, which obviously doesn't work because it doesn't have those buttons. But yeah, I think if we have the choice, we'd all prefer it without buttons. Just very clean and minimalist. And then here you have those glass buttresses, which I tried photographing last night in the dark, but it's very hard, especially with a bunch of reflective carbon here on that cover. Yeah, what a thing. You can look through the grate here and see the wheels. Nice louvers here, which I think are one of the nicest looking features of the 750. They're not as rough as on the GT3 RS, for example, but they look very streamlined here, and it looks so good. Front lights. Something I wondered yesterday is how on earth do they manufacture panels this complex? Like, I get a body panel despite being fairly complicated, but when it comes to this, it has to line up here the seams, and you need to put electronics, the lights in it. There's a massive radiator there. Yeah, it's very impressive how they do that. Maybe open the trunk one more time. I've shown it a couple of times already, but might as well. I mean, that McLaren logo just, it gives me a bit of a McLaren F1 vibes. My stuff in here. There's an intake here, which I guess is for the cabin. Single wiper. Hadn't noticed that before. Yeah, one big single. No, sorry, dual wiper. There's two. And that nice white interior with McLaren logos in there. Some more arrow bits here. It's a very complex geometry, this car. It's amazing how they pull it off. If we start here from the front, you've got that intake here, intake there, louvers, sort of directing air outwards there, directing air in here, a separate one here, I guess, or is that not? That's one big opening. And you've got one here, the buttresses, you've got cooling here, intake there, which I think might be exhaust or brakes even, I don't know. And then we've got this diffuser with everything sitting extremely low. It just gives me a little bit of anxiety seeing how low that diffuser is, because even with the lift, it's gonna get very close to the ground. Even if it's not the front, it's the back that's very, let's not think about that. But, man, what a thing. Let's have a quick look at the interior as well. So, as I mentioned, I don't think it has a dashboard, like a cubby. Speakers, like the sound system, it's Bowers & Wilkins, very good. In terms of storage, there's not much. I haven't opened this yet. I guess, yeah. Oh wow, it even has a charging cable. I had not noticed that. So yeah, you can definitely pack a lot of tissues or maybe chewing gum when you're going on a trip. Aside from that, I wouldn't count on it too much. There's a cup holder here, got your roof mechanism, and that sliding buttress window here that comes up. Your drive, neutral reverse, hazard lights, and auto stop start. There's another sort of, I don't think it's a cup holder, like a cubby kind of thing there. A thing that's actually quite convenient for your phone, although I've been using my little holder there. You've got the screen here, which yeah, works fine. I'm not too unhappy with it. It works kind of okay. No CarPlay as far as I can tell, but at least it has Bluetooth and you can play your music and stuff. Yeah, we've been over the rest of this. Got your little plaque there, made in Surrey, England. Some nice badging down there as well. Sorry, McLaren, for dirtying it up. And then you've got your window and door opener here in the side of the door. And that's about it for the interior, I guess. Nothing really special going on. So yeah, what do you think? Here's that typical view, like the side view I was talking about. And to be fair, it doesn't show as much when it's open actually, but it does show you a little bit how cab forward it is. So the cabin being very biased towards the front, with a lot of space for the engine, which it needs, to be fair, especially because it has that roof mechanism as well. But yeah, there's no denying this is a good looking car. Well, it's getting a bit chilly. I'm going to put some gas in this, maybe drive around a bit more, and yeah, talk about it a bit more later. And there's a little train in the distance. I guess they're a fan. First time filling her up here at the gas station. She is thirsty, very thirsty. Roof closed, but the little rear window is open, which sounds glorious. Sport mode and manual, of course. Let's see if we can have some fun. Let's do this. It's a shame you can't see it, but because I hit the brakes pretty dramatically, the air brake went up in the rear, which I can't help it. It looks really cool. I feel 12 years old in this thing, but that was only 7,000. Yes. Oh, that sounds good. I honestly feel like I've been seeing the same stretch of a couple of kilometers for the last 24 hours, just because it's a really nice piece of road. When I went to put gas a little earlier, the owner who showed me his very lovely Audi V8 from '92, truly spectacular thing, said he had watched me pass by at least a couple of times in the last day or so, so I guess I'm getting a bit of notoriety here in the Alps. Oh well, it's the car, I can't help it. Last run home. slowing down, but it is what it is. And then as soon as you switch back to comfort mode in auto, it becomes a very suitable cruiser. Well, you have to close this little window, of course. But yeah, if my back wasn't killing me, I could probably do this for hours. Also very cool is the fancy pants roof. So with the push of a button, it darkens or brightens. Very nifty. Anyway, enough comfort mode. Let's go back to sports. Put this down. Back to manual. Got some beautiful mountains coming up here. Let's make the best of it. I swear this feels naturally aspirated. I love this thing. I love it. It is a bringer of joy. And a farter. A very loud farter. It pulls and it pulls and it pulls. My least favorite moment of the day is when I arrive back at the hotel. Very tempted to just turn around and do another round, but let's, I was gonna go for a walk in the mountains. Let's do that. Window goes up, lift goes up. See, quiet. Quiet. And there we are. Alright, same procedure. Close the windows, pull the handbrake, start stop. Woo! I might be becoming a McLaren fanatic against all odds. I've done about 300 kilometers now, something like that, which feels surreal. It absolutely doesn't feel that way. But yeah, what do I say about this thing? It's nice. It's really nice. I feel conflicted because in my mind it's still somewhat boring, but it is anything but. It's a lot of fun. Yep. Good morning. It is Wednesday and day 3, the final day with the McLaren 750S. Unfortunately, it's been raining a lot last night. The car is quite wet, and you can see these really low clouds there in between the mountains. Quite a sight to see. So yeah, the weather has definitely taken a turn for, well, not the worst, but it's nothing like it has been for the last few days. Unfortunately, we are gonna have to head back to Munich to bring back the McLaren and trade it in for something very different, which is the Rolls-Royce Phantom Series 2 is, I believe, what it's called. So it's the second iteration of the 8th gen Phantom. Looking forward to it. It's got an interesting color. You'll see about that in the other video coming up for that. And yeah, again, very different car. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, to drive here on the nice roads. Not as quick, of course, and as nimble as the McLaren, but pretty unique in its own right. So yeah, final drive with this beauty. Apologies for the noises. They're doing some construction work in the back here. Yeah, this thing will be missed for sure. Let's go. I've tried using the navigation in the car before, and it's actually, yeah, it's quite intuitive to use. You wouldn't expect that from a high-end supercar. Alright, McLaren Munich, start. It's about an hour.
In 200 meters, turn left, then turn left again.
No, we don't want the sound. There we go. It's about an hour drive. Let's see. We are in reverse. Man, that's a lot of smoke. Our lift is up. One little downside I've discovered in the last couple of days is your reversing camera is... Okay, back to navigation please. Your reversing camera is very often obstructed by the steering wheel. It's in your main dash cluster, so whenever you have your steering wheel in a turn position, it's going to be blocking the reverse camera, which is a bit tricky, especially with parking. But yeah, minor detail. So maybe now is a good time to quickly talk about pricing. Looked it up, the 750S in Belgium starts around 330,000 euros, which of course lots of money, but if you think about it, especially with the recent trend of new supercars starting well over 500, when I think about, for example, the GT Cylindri, the Revuelto, they've all gotten so expensive, and of course it starts at 330. You still need options and stuff, but McLaren is pretty good with options. If you look at the standard kit you get with this, you get, I mean, they're not like Porsche, you get parking sensors, you get that very trick McLaren suspension, which is mighty impressive, I have to say, where the left and right, like left front is connected to the right rear and stuff, like it all connects. And you can tell it's pretty advanced. So you get all that. I'm sure a color like Belize Blue is pretty expensive, and then you have the whole MSO pack or MSO type options, which are ridiculously expensive. But in essence, you can get a pretty decent basic 750S spider for 330, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than the likes of new Lamborghinis. I don't know what the Temerario, the new sort of maybe Lamborghini price is going to be, but I imagine it's more expensive than this car. If the Revuelto starts at over 500,000 euros, I would not be surprised if the Temerario starts at about 350. So yeah, not bad. Just reached a unregulated part of the highway, of the Autobahn. I'm a little bit tempted to go for one last fun session. Well, might as well. It's a bit wet out there, so I'd rather not take any risk, but it seems that the other Autobahn users are going for it as well. So, well, last ride with the 750S. got a special place in my heart, and it definitely convinced me that I was wrong about McLaren, at least about the 750 and I suppose the 720, and I'm hungry for more. Thanks for watching.